Going live. Okay, well, hello everyone. Welcome to a new episode of the Women Empowerment Series. I'm connecting with an incredible woman, Tiffany Jade from North Carolina. Your vibes, your branding, you are an incredible. So thank you for joining me today. Welcome, Tiffany.
Thank you. Thank you. Northern California.
Northern California, and it's morning for you. Yeah,
Yes.
Northern California. Where
Mhm.
exactly are you? Is it by San Francisco or?
Yeah, it's Santa Rosa, about an hour north of San Francisco,
Nice.
the wine country region.
Is it? Oh, it
Yeah.
must be lovely and green, probably.
Yeah, yeah. And
Wow.
microclimates, like you can
And
go 20
microclimate.
minutes in one direction and have totally different weather.
I love that. Have you always been there?
No, since 2013.
Okay.
I grew up in South Florida.
Oh, okay. So you went really the two sides,
I did, yeah.
looking for another place with the sun. That's
Yeah, yeah,
incredible.
yeah. I had a
Oh,
couple stops in the middle, but yeah. Yeah.
oh, okay. So let's talk about Tiffany. You started in the corporate world,
Yes.
and I know you reached a lot of successes at that moment. How was it, that life? And do you feel it's far away or is it still you?
It feels so far away. There's still parts of it that are still me, but
Uh-huh.
it was definitely not me. Like, it was part of my path. It led me to where I am, and it
Mhm,
was all divine, all, like, no accidents, but
mhm.
it was me following my father's path. It was
Oh, he was
yeah,
your role model. Oh my God, you're like me.
yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
wow.
I, very much followed in his footsteps. He was an engineer, and
That's incredible.
Yeah,
Huh?
when I went to college, I started off like my first major was mechanical engineering, and then I kind of switched. I went to computer engineering, then
Uh-huh.
computer science, and then my final major was decision and information sciences.
Wow, that's decision theory. That's what I did for my master. We were just talking about it.
Ah, yeah, and
Incredible.
I went to the master's as well. I got my master's,
Oh,
and and then I got like the corporate job. I was an
that's
IT
super
consultant.
advanced to be in decision theory. Oh my God. Yeah. And then
Yeah,
you went into the corporate world.
I
Yeah.
did. I
Did you
did.
like it? Were
Parts
you
of it.
proud of yourself when you graduated? Because
I was
that's,
very proud of myself.
of
I
course,
still
that's,
remember the
yeah.
moment of, like, giving my business card for my first job to my dad. It was like I worked for Accenture. It
Uh-huh.
like one of the
Oh,
big
yes, of course, a big company that
yeah,
does that,
and I was like,
obviously,
"Look,
they
dad,
would.
I did it, I did it," very much
Yeah.
like validation and
Yeah.
proving myself.
That's so nice, and he was proud of his daughter, he was proud of the success. Hello,
Yeah.
everyone joining us. Let us know where you're
Hello.
connecting from, and if you have any questions, we're gonna have a fascinating talk today. So, okay, so and you were proud because I think, there is this song, in Arabic that often repeating myself, is that there is no winning that makes you proud more than you succeeding in an exam or succeeding in a degree. Nothing.
Mm. Yeah,
And
yeah.
that's a little bit true because that's something you did yourself, right?
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Wow. And then what happened? You loved it, you were proud of you, and then what happened?
I loved like, the first job, I loved the job, but I worked so much, and I
Of
traveled
course.
100%. I
Yes.
lived in Florida, but worked in Los Angeles, like,
Okay.
for I don't remember how long, and took a couple trips to India and that sort of thing, and it was just,
Wow.
like,
Yeah.
I love the work, and I love, like, the supportive culture where you were given the you were, like, stretched, but given the
Mhm.
tools to succeed, and I loved
Mhm.
that, but it was just burnout.
Yeah. Yeah, because
So
it's a lot of work. It's
exactly. So I switched jobs a couple times to something that would be, more like normal, local, but those were toxic environments, and I was just like, "What?" I felt the golden handcuffs because I was the breadwinner in my marriage at the time, and I was
mm,
like, "What? I don't know what to do."
you were
Um,
stuck. You felt stuck
I
because you
felt
yeah,
so stuck. I was like, "This
yes.
isn't it." Like, I like the work, but I don't like the environment once I had
Yeah.
the other positions,
Mm.
but I didn't know where else to go. And I was
Wow.
also starting to think about having kids.
Yeah.
I was originally, when I was the consultant at 24, I was like, I'll just hire a nanny and travel and whatever.
Yeah, because you're so young, and that's what we think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then once I got to my late 20s, I was like, no, no.
And it's hard with this consultancy job because I think these are the most demanding jobs in the world. We know that.
Exactly.
'Cause
Yes.
yeah,
Yes. It was all
because
like client
the
service.
deadline, the pressure, and
Yeah.
you wanna be good, so it's like it becomes your way of being. It's like, yeah.
Yes.
Mm,
Totally. Totally.
mm. Wow.
So, so I was introduced to a network marketing company,
Huh?
and at first I was like, "There's no way," but then it started to like,
Why
maybe
not?
this is my out, and
Mhm.
so I started doing that, building a business with that. But I felt like I was like hitting my head up against a wall. It was like I
Mm,
was achieving certain levels of success, but like
yeah.
not
What
breaking
you wanted.
free. I was like,
Yeah, not what you used to be. Yeah.
yeah,
Mhm.
exactly.
Mm.
And, um, and then eventually, long story short, I was laid off from my job. They laid off 40% of the IT staff to outsource
Oh. Mhm.
to, that, they replaced us with people in India. And,
Yeah.
I got a nice severance, so that was
Mhm.
nice, but,
Mhm.
I took that as an opportunity to go all in on the network marketing business. That did not work.
Mm.
But 2 months later, 2 months after I was laid off, I got pregnant after I had been
Mm.
trying for a year and a half.
Wow, because you were too busy finding a job and you didn't think about it.
Yeah,
That's incredible.
I was too stressed by the
Yeah.
job that, like, I wasn't getting pregnant. And so finally, like, once that stress was
Mm.
gone, oddly enough, being unemployed was less stressful than the
It
work.
is, actually, it really is.
Yeah, and,
Wow.
so I
Mhm.
got pregnant, I worked a contract job, and then when my son was 2 weeks old,
Mhm.
my husband at the time's boss called him and offered for us to move. We were living in St. Petersburg, Florida at the time,
Oh my gosh,
Tampa
yeah.
Bay, and his boss said, "Would would you wanna move to Knoxville, Tennessee?"
Oh,
Because we were
mm.
closing this location and I was like, "If it means I can stay home with
Of
this
course.
beautiful baby,
Let's
yes,
go.
yes, please." So we did that.
Mm.
We moved to Tennessee. I became a stay-at-home mom, and that was my out,
Oh,
because it was lower cost of living. So that was why
yeah.
that was
Yeah, that was easier, and
yeah,
it's nice because it gave you time to be a mom.
yes,
It's
exactly,
beautiful. It's nice.
exactly.
Yeah,
And motherhood is its whole journey.
it is.
Um,
And
I
when you take the time to really fully embrace it, it's
yeah,
worth every part of it.
absolutely,
It's
absolutely.
really
I'm so grateful that I had the ability and the privilege to be with my baby. Yeah,
yes,
and
and it's nice you say that because even, when I had my 2 first ones, I took a sabbatical for
mhm,
a few months. I mean, I couldn't stay longer because it's impossible when you but I think it was the best thing I could have done. It's like just feel being a mom, just, being there sitting and like, I don't have to do anything, just look at the babies. Yeah.
yeah, exactly,
Mhm.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Even
and
if it could be hard, but
yes, yeah, I definitely had an inner journey of it. I think I had postpartum depression. I didn't know
Oh.
it at the
'Cause
time.
you moved and you did everything. Yeah.
Yeah, and I had a traumatic birth, different than what you hear from most people, um, but I think just all of that, and, like, losing my identity because I had
Yeah.
identified myself by my job, by my
Okay,
success.
that's what I'm saying. It's like you can't stay for a long time. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
I can
and
hear
then
that.
it's like, "Who am I now?" And yeah, and then,
When
another
did you how much time did it take you to ask yourself the questions like, "Okay, who's this woman? I don't remember who I am. How was I?" Like,
it was
how much?
pretty quick. Like, once we moved, it was, like,
Few months?
maybe even less. It was,
Really? Oh,
like,
okay. That's
immediately once we moved, I was, let's see,
it's
like,
like
I was scared to go anywhere.
yeah.
Like, I was
Yeah.
overwhelmed, all
Yeah.
alone, no
Oh.
support,
Mm.
and it was just this whole, I don't know how to explain it. But yeah, it was like redefining myself pretty quickly. Um,
And
and
so you're like, I don't want to be the stay-at-home mom.
I did want to, like, I wanted to stay that for some time. Like my child was my world. And I was like,
Yeah.
and I started like doing all the little Pinterest activities like um making homemade Play-Doh and slime and like with the wholesome ingredients and like
Yeah.
doing creating little like busy bag like
Yeah.
activities
So you
like
got yourself busy being at
yeah,
home. Yeah.
yeah, and
Well,
like
that's nice for the child because then he's very alert with the mom at home.
exactly. Yeah. Very, very attached, secure
Yeah.
attachment.
Yeah.
So I was where I wanted to be. It was what I wanted to do. I didn't want to change anything with that, but still felt internally like going through this, like, uh,
Identity search.
yeah, like a disintegration and you know, the word recapitulation is coming to mind, but honestly, I don't even
Wow.
I don't even know like the definition of that word. So I don't know if that's accurate, but that's what's coming. Um,
Incredible. And
yeah,
so what did you decide? That's what you started in this beautiful journey that you
I
are in
s-
today.
so I stayed with that until we were renting a house. Then we bought a house and remodeled it. It burned down a week before we moved in. And we were like, but it was empty. So we didn't lose anything. It was just like the house and the whatever.
Okay.
But we knew we didn't want to stay in Tennessee. It wasn't
Yeah.
really like the place
Mhm.
for us. And so
Mm,
we started looking where else are there possessions with his
mm,
company because they moved us, like they packed us up and
mm,
moved us. And there
mm.
was one here in Santa Rosa, California.
Mm,
Had
nice.
never been here. Um, and his interview was in Phoenix.
Mhm.
So we moved here sight unseen,
Oh,
but our neighbors were like, "You'd love it," because they had lived here, moved
that's
here.
nice.
A month
Mhm.
later, I got pregnant with my daughter, um,
Oh,
and still stay-at-home mom, and then, and stayed dedicated to parenting, all of
mhm.
that, um, and then after a few years, I was like, "Okay, now I'm really ready
Ready to
to do something."
go back to be Tiffany, that is the corporate, the one that does things, not even the corporate, just like the doer. Yeah.
Exactly, the doer. I was like, "I don't wanna go back to the corporate, though."
No,
I
but you
was
want
like,
to
"I
be the
wanna
one.
create something, I wanna do something, and this is my opportunity to explore something different."
Yes.
So, I saw a training for kids yoga, and I was
Ooh,
like, "Hmm,
interesting.
maybe I'll try that." So
Yeah.
that's where it started.
Kids
Um,
yoga. I love that. It's like doing it with the children, right?
yeah, and it's,
Yeah.
like, playful, so it's
Yeah.
creating and I guess backtracking a little bit, it was, like,
Mhm.
finding my yoga practice, and yoga
Yeah.
was transformative for me. So
Mhm.
that was
Yeah.
before.
Right.
And then I did the kids yoga training, and I was like, "This is something I can bring my daughter to. I can
Mhm.
teach classes," and did
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Um, and then I did a yoga teacher training, and that was so transformative. By the end of it, I was like, "What?"
What did they miss?
I had changed so much. I realized I felt self-love for the first time.
Oh, incredible.
I
Mm,
hadn't realized it was missing,
mm,
but it and so,
mm.
I and in that time, like, I shifted. It was like my numbing out watching TV or drinking wine with my husband at the
Mm,
time
mm.
every single night faded away. I was no longer
You
interested.
don't need to do that. Mm,
No.
mm.
And,
That's incredible.
the marriage fell apart,
Mm.
because I was, like, feeling worthy of
Of
standards
you.
and boundaries.
Yes.
Exactly.
Oh,
And
incredible. You
yeah,
know how sometimes we let ourselves be mistreated for so long because we
exactly,
don't know our self-worth.
exactly, and it was what I was used to from
Yes.
what I saw from my parents, and
Of course, from studying so hard and doing things so hard and everything, it's like you numb yourself. You get
yes,
numb.
yeah,
You
and
get
they didn't have a healthy relationship, and so, like, toxicity was normal to me,
mm,
and so once that started to fall apart, um, eventually the marriage ended,
Mm.
and when I moved out, I was led to a priestess. I found her on
Oh,
Facebook.
you're a priestess. Wow.
Yeah, like, I just was divinely led to her, and I found a program that she was offering. It was a 13 moon priestess initiation program, and I was like, "I don't know what this is or what this means. I know manifestation language, but I don't know priestess language.
Okay.
I know I'm meant to do this."
So your role as a priestess? What is the role?
The well,
Fighting.
my role
Mm.
specifically
Yeah.
is to basically help women come home to themselves,
Wow.
to
Mm.
shed anything that isn't truly theirs, whether it's healing from the past, healing wounds, societal paradigms, patriarchal paradigms, and coming home to their true soul essence. It's activating the cellular memory of like ancient lifetimes and just the truth of who we
We
really are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
And you know what I find even more incredible is that you, as an engineer and a consultant of super high level, is making sense of it today. That's
Yeah.
just the most powerful thing.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because when I first found it, I was like, I don't know what this is.
No, it's like, no, I don't do stuff like that. I'm a scientific. I'm like, no, no.
Yeah, yeah, and then I slowly switched, into teaching yoga and everything, and then it
Yeah,
was
because you guys doing it's like, okay, I can do that stuff, but this is like, whoa.
yeah,
You gotta
yeah,
make sense. You gotta use your logical brain to explain to him that everything is okay. You're good.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, exactly. My dad's like, "I have no idea what you do."
Of course he doesn't. He's an engineer
Yeah,
and but so how do you explain that? How would you explain that to somebody who would not understand?
um, I mean, basically, if someone, um, asks me what I do, I'll be like, "I host events
Mhm.
and, coach people."
Mm,
Like,
that's
to simplify, like, I'll host I have a sisterhood, I host retreats, and it's ceremonial, it's like, entering into the liminal realms, but that's not gonna make sense to everybody, so I host events.
how do you do the ceremonial events? Is it with music? Is it with vibes? Is it with your voice? How do you get to this level?
Mhm. Um, so basically, either whether it's either in person or online, it's like we create sacred space and cast a
Okay.
circle, like calling in the divine, calling in the divine beings, and just declaring it a safe and sacred space because our
Okay.
word is
It's powerful.
powerful.
Yes.
And then each ceremony is unique and different based on what we're working with and who I'm working with, and like everything shifts and evolves. And it's like I'll have a loose plan,
Mhm.
but the divine will speak through me, and I'll get like
So you will
yeah,
channel guidance through how you will animate or orchestrate that circle because it's an orchestra. It's like,
exactly,
wow,
exactly,
oh,
yeah,
incredible. That's a lot of gift, a lot of talent there. It's
yeah, yeah. That I
because
didn't know was there for a long
no,
time.
do you think you had it from before, but you didn't listen to
Absolutely.
it?
Absolutely. My mom shared with me that when I was young, like a toddler,
Yeah.
and, she was throwing a birthday party for me, and I told her that I don't remember who, but it was like some deceased relative was sending, yellow roses, and then
Okay.
someone came and there was wrapping paper with yellow roses on it.
Oh my God, really? She
Yeah.
must have been spooked, your mom.
I mean, I don't think she was spooked. I think she was just like, "Oh, wow, this is amazing." So she was open to it because her aunt was a channel. And
Oh, yes. Okay, so you had it in the family. So you
yeah,
had it in the
but I
family.
believe everybody has it.
Wow.
Everybody has it. We might have different, um, expressions of it or different it's all like
Interpretation of it.
clairvoyance, clairsentience. We receive this divine guidance, the intuition through different senses. And it
Yes.
might be just knowing, it might be feeling in your body, it might be seeing or hearing. And we all have that if we just tap into that and cultivate it, if we recognize it and trust it. That's the other thing. Because as
Trusted. I love what you just added because this is what everything plays is, do you trust it? Do
exactly,
you
because
believe?
we are taught in our cultures to trust logic over
Yeah.
intuition.
Yeah.
And it's all patriarchal, squashing the feminine, because if women really, if all women awakened to their power and their divine knowing, the world would change, and
Definitely.
like the powers that be wouldn't be able to control us. And I don't like to say that as like victim, we're controlled, but
Mm,
to acknowledge and recognize that there is, manipulation and control.
that's
And
true.
so,
That's
like,
very true. Yeah. And I think you express it so well because women are intuitive,
yeah,
and the intuition is what distinguish women from men and from anything. I mean, from like the professional that is very Cartesian, very, logic and pragmatic and does think. And so when you shut the intuition off, you become completely very masculine in the way of being.
exactly, exactly. Logic is masculine, intuition is feminine.
Mm.
Masculine is like front of the body, forward motion. Feminine is back of the body, leaning back, receiving.
Mm.
And it's like we receive the intuition. We just need to create this space to receive it. If we're just busy,
Wow.
do,
We
there's
don't
no
create a
space
space.
to
But
receive.
okay, but this is very important, Tiffany, because we are busy doing because we're scared
Yeah.
often. That's why.
Absolutely.
Yes.
And that's again, and this is like the story of my life. It was
Yeah.
like I was very, in the like the masculine is the figure it out,
Yeah.
the fix it, the make it happen.
He said
And if
that's it.
we're
Yeah.
scared, we go into the wounded masculine and we're like, how do I fix this? And if
Mhm.
we can lean back,
And let it be fixed on its own.
or
Mhm.
the answers will come. Like
Mhm.
there might be action for us, but if the action is divinely guided,
Yeah.
it works in a way that doesn't necessarily even make sense. Like it's like, do you want to force your way upstream? And this is an Abraham Hicks analogy, but like, do you want to force your way upstream, or do you want to just float downstream and be like, okay, oh, the divine hands me a drink. Okay. Like I'll
Then
take
it just flow. You follow the wave. You let
exactly.
yourself be navigating through the wave as they come along.
Exactly.
But that's so much stress, Tiffany. That is like you have to trust everything.
Yeah,
Can we surrender to that? That's the question.
exactly. But we don't do it in like a 180, like in one
Okay.
day, you know?
Yeah.
Um,
Okay. Yeah. That's what I mean.
maybe someone can, but for the most part, we're gonna like just, take there we go. Do little 1 degree shifts, 1 degree shifts, 1 degree shifts. And it's honestly, it's gonna go like, as we shift, we're gonna go back and then, until we can move into that. But that's all just an unraveling. It's like, okay, let me let go of this societal programming. Let me let go of this trauma, this wound. Let me just take things out of my backpack that are
Yeah. Oh,
weighing
yeah.
me down
I
and
love the
putting
image.
me
Yeah.
into this wounded masculine. And then eventually it's like, oh, I
I'm
was
light.
carrying this heavy backpack of unnecessary crap. Let's
It
just
is.
stop that.
Yeah. Yeah. Let's put it aside and let's
Yeah,
lighten up. Huh. Yeah.
yeah, but it can be so much easier than we think.
And you can create whatever you want through that. That's the thing, the beauty of it.
Absolutely.
And we just need to believe that it's possible.
Exactly,
Give
and
it
just
the time.
yeah, and just tapping into the people that show us that it's possible, and look at that more than we
Mm.
look at, the third dimensional matrix paradigms of, like, you gotta go to school, get the job, climb the corporate ladder sort of thing,
Mhm.
or
It's
whatever.
But you know, you got to school, you learned all this learning. There is a lot of value in all this learning, isn't it? I mean, like,
Absolutely, and not to knock, like, having a
no,
job, there's
no,
nothing
you
wrong
do
with
not
that,
want to do that.
but if
If you
you're
add that dimension to it, you can go
exactly,
higher and feel fulfilled in the same time.
exactly. So you can absolutely, like, live the corporate career and
Yeah.
be aligned and fulfilled and there's nothing wrong with that. But
But
it's
you
like
choose in the
exact
corporate career, you choose, do you want to work for someone's dream or do you want to create your own corporate sphere following your dream? That's a choice you
yeah,
can make yourself have.
exactly,
But we
exactly,
don't, because it's not in the, it's nowhere, no category. It's like it's scary, it's risky, don't. You go to this way. Mm,
exactly, exactly.
mm,
And there's nothing wrong with having that safety, having that familiarity, and I don't know that entrepreneurship is for everybody, and
mm.
so it's totally just to be clear, not to knock, like, working for someone
No,
else or
we do
anything.
not. Never.
And but it's like, check in. Is this yours? Is this really your desire, your path? Are you following this carrot because it's where your soul is guiding you? Or
Mm.
is it where you were programmed to, like
Yeah.
someone else's dream, someone else's vision, your parents or schools or whatever?
And I also like to put it as, any job you do, that job doesn't mirror who you really are. That job is makes you the person who you want to become. So if you take it this way, if you are in a corporation and you learn things, you will create that leader that you want to be. So, and this makes it easier to have people that actually work with love and empathy and provide a real service with
Yeah.
real love. Otherwise, we'll have a lot of hatred, right? Like really, maybe people hating everything, but that's not what we want.
Yes, exactly. I just have this vision,
Yeah.
and it like totally a download, and I don't know that I will see it in my lifetime, but like we're creating with this new earth paradigm is like where people are led by their own inner essence rather than something outside of them. And imagine all of the creations that there will be. Like imagine all of the art that will be created or the songs that will be
Yes.
created because people are tuning into themselves.
Yes.
Like imagine the artist that never picks up a paintbrush because they were taught that they have to go get a job and they'll never make money with art.
That's
And
true.
like when they can connect to like and I see the shift already happening.
Mm.
I actually met the other day my friend's daughter who's
Yeah.
like 19 and she's a singer and she's like on Spotify and she has like kind of a spiritual like her top song is called Intuition. And I'm
Wow.
man, this 19-year-old, like she's following her dharma, like she's
Yeah.
on her path and
It's
creating what
incredible.
good and
Mm.
she's being rewarded for it. Our
That's
divine
beautiful.
compensation. Yeah,
And that's just so more you are guided by your intuition, more you can trust that your talents can, you can create whatever you want with your talents. It's like,
exactly,
mm,
exactly. To
mm,
follow your desires, follow your heart rather than following what you think you need to do in order
mm.
to survive or be successful.
And if you need to do what you need to do, make it just a step into becoming who you want to be.
Exactly, yeah, there's nothing wrong with, like, having a job
Because
to
life is
support you along
hard.
the
We know
way.
that.
We
Mm.
don't need to, like, go all in and be like, "I'm gonna 100% dedicate myself to this vision or this business," and, like, we can energetically, but we can support ourselves with a level of safety with a job or explore a job because my corporate career supported me in so many ways. Like I've created my own websites and optimized them to show up in search engines and stuff. So for like my
Yeah,
yoga business, people find me through Google.
that's amazing.
Yeah,
Oh, good for you. So you see, so there is so much plus that you get from high level education and being
exactly.
so good and
Exactly.
excellent. And I always say that your brand is excellence, make it that. And excellence doesn't come without, putting the hours to learn, to
Mm,
study, to
yes.
be with the best and actually, you know, get the knowledge.
Yeah,
What do you do with the knowledge? That's what makes a difference.
exactly, exactly, and having gratitude for everything that led us to where we are.
Ah, this is beautiful. It's
Mm.
so true. You're incredible, Tiffany. Thank you so much for sharing this and bringing some goddess vibe to this
Mm.
women's empowerment series. I felt, since we met, I just felt like there is such a calmness and feeling home that is
Mm.
beautiful, that you radiate. It's
Thank you.
beautiful.
That's a beautiful reflection. I appreciate that.
That is so true. Thank you so much. Thank you for coming. Thank you, everyone,
Thank
for being with us and
you.
watching us on replay. Thank you.
Yes.
Bye.
Bye.